You have any tattoos, Dave?
I don't. Should I?
Should you?
See, I wouldn't know what to do or where to put it. So maybe I need to have a consultant, a tattoo consultant. You obviously have a little knowledge in the subject.
I do. And that never kind of crossed your mind at a younger age. You know what?
I think no, because when I was younger, I'm 46, so when I was younger, the tattoos were not really that popular, you know.
You get a
so
saxophone or something.
a little too obvious.
Oh, that's right.
I would do like maybe, actually, I like your tree. That's very, very hip.
Thank you. Well, I can turn you on to my tattoo artist.
Okay, well, we'll talk after the interview.
Hey, listen, I appreciate alluded to your music teacher. You know, was that really a pivotal point in your kind of adolescence that just like, oh my God, this is what I've got to do for the rest of my life?
I didn't have that epiphany when I was in school. I just knew that it was like an important aspect of like socialization. Not like I knew what it was at the time, but I knew that this was a way to get me out of my shell. Because I was really introverted, kind of geeky, still am actually, for that matter. But you know, and I had a lot of these things going on in my mind, and I really didn't have a way to communicate that. So the saxophone truly was like finding another aspect of me that I was able to communicate through that, using it as a vehicle. And I didn't know till many, many years later that that's what I would do for a living. But if that spark wasn't there, I love what Tricia said too. It's like igniting that spark. So that was definitely the spark, and it didn't really become a flame until I graduated college many, many years ago, many years later, and realized that I could have a living by being a saxophonist. But if that spark wasn't there, certainly the flame wouldn't have ignited.
So given the Hollywood community's lost, you know, unfortunately a number of icons in the past couple of months, from obviously Michael Jackson, Farrah Fawcett, and Ed McMahon, and do you yourself, Dave, think about legacy at all?
Wow,
asked that before, Dave?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. I think everybody thinks about it. Like, well, what happens if this is it? A guy who was my road manager, he's since passed away. Passed away about 6 years ago from cancer. He was a young man. He was 55. And I think he said it best, and it's the way that I have come to view my life. Between gigs, because he was also a musician, he painted houses. And, you know, he was a house painter. And he said to me about a couple months before he died, he said, listen, your life is like painting a house. You know, you know that the house is going to be there. It was there before you came, and it's going to be there afterward. So what do you do during your lifetime? You paint it, and you make it look as best as you possibly can, knowing that, you know, after you go, somebody's going to repaint it, and they may not remember you. But while you're here, make it look the best you possibly can. So that's the way I look at legacy. I try not to think too much into the future. I just want to make sure that while I'm here, I'm making my house as pretty as possible.
It's a great analogy. Appreciate the time, man.
Sure thing.